Good morning. Guys, I'm in a rental vehicle this morning because last week I hit a buzzard that flew straight into the so I'm in a loaner, and I did not want to put the stand on the dashboard of a vehicle that is not mine in case it would leave some kind of mark. So this is a temporary little setup in a loaner vehicle. So weird, but I'm on my way to a final walkthrough for buyers that are closing on a house this morning. I represented the sellers and the buyers on this one. I just love both sides of this transaction. The sellers were so amazing to work with. The buyers were so amazing to work with. And today we're closing and everybody's so excited. But I wanted to talk to you about something because a lot of you probably don't know my story, that I was in education for 20 years. I was a technology supervisor of Acadia Parish School Board for the last 5. And it got to the point where I just did not feel valued, appreciated, all the things. And so at 20 and a half years I got out, did not have a clue what I was going to do. A friend of mine had said I'd probably be a good realtor. I said, I might as well. What else am I going to do? So I remember telling my husband, I'm going to give it a try. If I absolutely love it, I'll know the first couple of days of classes. If I do not love it, then I'm going to come up with a plan B. I had no plan B, none at all whatsoever. I got into real estate. I knew probably from within the first hour of the training that I loved the topic. I loved the information. I loved the idea of not having a boss. I loved the possibility of helping so many people. But I'll tell you the honest truth. I loved the fact that the amount of money that I could make was not directly affected by someone who had set this magical salary, and that no matter how hard I ever worked, I was never going to make more than that. So as anything, when you're paid a salary, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how little you work, you're getting the same amount of money. So as a technology supervisor, I was surrounded by people who really just were there to collect a paycheck and believed that they were counting the days to retirement and they were there to just get a job done. They sometimes did hard work, sometimes they did very little work, sometimes they didn't do anything during the whole day. And they got paid the same check every single month, and it drove me crazy. What I loved about real estate was the fact that if I worked my ass off, I would get paid for it. And so I'll never forget the teacher said, look around this room. There are 25 people in this room going to be a realtor, and 1 or 2 of you are actually going to finish, and probably 1 of you are going to actually take the test, pass it, and become licensed and become a realtor. And I remember thinking, I will be the one. He also said, look around the room, because the average realtor closes 3 to 5 deals a year and makes about $25,000 a year. And I remember thinking, hell no, that's absolute poverty. There's no way in this world I'm only going to close 3 to 5 deals a year and make $25,000 a year. That's silly. I didn't think I'd be so busy around Iota, Egan, and Evangeline like I have been. I really believed I'd have to drive a lot to Lafayette and Lake Charles to get business, and thankfully that has not been the case. But my point is this: I did not have a backup plan. And I hear so many, lately, I've heard so many seniors who are graduating from high school, and this is what they say: I'm going to give this a try, but if this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. Guess what? You've already failed. You have absolutely already failed. So this is what I have told my boys from the time they were little. Decide what you want to be and go be it. And do whatever in the world it takes to get there. You don't have a plan B. You do not have a plan B. You decide what you want to be, and you go figure out a way to do it. And that's it. That is absolutely all you do. So my boys, they decided that they wanted to be engineers. They might not have known the exact field of engineering, but they wanted to be engineers. And I remember telling them, all the money in the world doesn't matter if you don't love it. So my oldest did internships every summer at different places, and thankfully he did love it, but he never had a backup plan. My 17-year-old that's going to LSU in the fall, he wants to go into engineering. He's thinking he wants to be an electrical engineer. He doesn't know for sure that he's going to love electrical engineering, but once he gets into the classes and he does a few internships, he'll know. And if he doesn't like electrical engineering or engineering at all, at that point, he will then decide what else he may want to do. There's no backup plan. You do not need a backup plan. So, in other words, when I retired from the school system, I knew zero about real estate, but this is what I did know. I could do it, right? I absolutely could do it. Why could I not do it? Was I scared? I was scared to death. I was 44 years old. I had just retired from an education system, and I knew nothing at all, anything else except education. That's all I knew. This is what I did know, that I was going to make it work somehow, some way, if I loved it. If I did not love it, then I was going to go and do something else, right? But I did not dip my pinky toe in it and go, well, if it works out, it works out. Listen, my very first year in real estate, I made negative $2,000. Negative $2,000. Every single credit card was maxed out. The boys barely had a Christmas. I never thought 1 minute I'm going to quit. Never, ever, ever the thought crossed my mind, because I knew if I kept at it, the money would eventually roll in and the expenses would take care of themselves. The first year in real estate, I made negative $2,000 because I spent so much money on marketing and advertising, because everybody knew me as an educator, and I wanted people to know I was a realtor and that I was in it to help the community and to do whatever I needed to do to make sure that sellers and buyers were successful. And a lot of times I meet with sellers, for example, and this is what I say to them. Remember this, when your house goes into contract and you're preparing to move out, and this is the conversation I have with the sellers right now. The house, when we do the final walkthrough, the house should be in the same or better condition than it was the very first time the buyers walked through it. And so the sellers say, well, can they cancel the contract? Absolutely they can. They have the right to. When a buyer walks through a home for the final walkthrough, that if the home, let's just say, for example, when they walked through it the first time, there was a couch in front of a hole in a wall. Maybe a kid had an accident one day and went through the sheetrock and there was a hole behind the couch, okay? Well, when they move out, the hole is still there, and the buyers didn't see that hole because your furniture was there. Absolutely, the buyers can say, we want it fixed before closing, or we are canceling the contract, right? I have closed close to 300 deals in the last 5 years. I have never, ever, not one time have I had a buyer walk away from a deal at closing, on the final walkthrough. Because the sellers know the home has to be in the same or better condition than when the buyers walked through it the first time. And that's just a no-brainer. So of course they're not going to try to hide anything. They don't want to lose a sale. But going back to my point is, you don't need a plan B. And don't tell your children that they need a plan B. That's the worst thing to do. Decide, make a decision of what you want to do or what you want to be, and go do it. I will tell you, my third semester in college, when I was 19 years old, my dad died of a massive heart attack. Just died. I was 19, third semester in college. The thought never occurred to me to quit. Was it hard? It was absolutely hard. My mom and dad were divorced. I was 19. I was in charge of selling his house. I was in charge of getting the succession done. I was in charge of everything. I actually flunked out that semester. It was February of 1994. February of 1994. I flunked out that semester because I was handling all this stuff. I went back that summer and never sat out another summer until I graduated in 1998. The thought never occurred to me to quit. So, my point is this. Like I said, lately I've been hearing lots of seniors say, this is my first plan, but I have a plan B if that doesn't work out. Guys, you don't need a plan B. Decide what you're going to do and go do it. Go figure out a way to do it. If you believe you can do it, you love everything about the idea of it, go figure out a way to do it. And that's what happens when I'm selling a house all the time. The sellers, when we meet, they say, well, what if it doesn't sell? Listen, it's going to sell. Your house is going to sell. If it doesn't sell right away, that's just the market. That can mean the price is too high. That could mean a number of different things, right? But it's going to sell. There's a buyer for every single place, and sellers just have to overcome that fear. So the buyers are here to do their final walkthrough. I am so excited about that. You're going to see their picture later today because we have a closing. But right now we're going to do a final walkthrough. We're going to make sure everything looks great, in better condition than when they first saw it. And we're going to have a great day. Y'all take care. Enjoy this weather. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.